I grew up in Mombasa, Likoni. My dad was a teacher at Mombasa Technical Teacher Training College. And like every other good teacher, he used to take us out for tours to the Moi International Airport. And I used to pick all those tickets, and I would spend, we were supposed to go to the airport and then write composition, then you would mark. A typical teacher. Those who grew up with teachers in their families, you get what I mean? And so one thing I used to do was always to write on those tickets. I would draft the name of the passengers and I would write Oliver Waindi, Oliver Waindi, Oliver Waindi. So when I was writing that, my mom was always very skeptical. She said, Oliver, instead of writing those names, why don't you work hard and be boarding those planes? And I felt challenged, actually. Well, the only way I could work hard was to work hard and go to the university, which I did. But at the university, I also realized that I had a hidden talent. I was a good boxer. So long story short, I represented this country in several international events and won. But not only that, it shaped my personality to date. Because I was the captain, not only of Kenya Breweries, but the national team as well for a long time. But fast forward, we graduate from the university and reality hits you because, we were in that period of time when university was university. Everybody had their own rooms and you're paid money by the government. You have got no idea what it is for. And so that's the way we survived at university. Then all of a sudden we graduate and you realize, oh my God, I don't have a job. Now, by that time, my parents had moved to Komarok and it was a 2-bedroom house. So the arrangement where all the girls sleep in one bedroom, my parents in the other, and all the boys sleep in the sitting room. Anybody can associate with that? So I asked myself, Oliver Waindi, a former international boxer, why would I be cuddling down in a sitting room somewhere with my degree? I said no. And so I decided to go and begin my life anyway. And it was very difficult, actually, because I thought when you leave the university, you get jobs. And so I went and got a room for 600 shillings in Soweto. Soweto is not Kayole. It's well after Kayole. So I got this room, and I said, how will I be paying this? So I went to Steel Structures. It's a company on Kangundo Road. And we would all queue there in the morning at 6 a.m. to try and get a chance to be katika kazi ya mjengo. So that's how it began. Now here you have, you're top of your class in the university, no jobs, and you begin with kazi ya mjengo. Construction site, real construction site. I'm not talking of maybe you are a clerk. No, you are the one doing the mixing and really climbing up the ladder with all that stuff. I was being paid 53 shillings. And by the way, I'm not that old, so I'm not talking of 1940s. I was being paid 53 shillings. Then I met a friend of mine who told me, but Oliver, you are a former boxer and you are a strong person. So you can as well also get some extra coins by being a bouncer. So I went to bounce in Ngara, a club called a Brilliant Hotel in Ngara. It was a reggae club by King Lions. Anybody remembering that? So I was the main bouncer. The reason I'm saying this is that, like TDJ says, don't ask me about my glory, ask me about my story. So when you see somebody is a CEO and you wonder, oh, it's so easy to become a CEO. It's not that easy. And so I got there, but I kept on applying for jobs. During that time, we didn't have internet, so it was yellow pages. This may not sound very familiar to 90% of you. Yellow pages. You could take a directory and apply with your hands, all the companies there. Now, my mom was a secretary at the Ministry of Water, so she told me that, Oliver, the best I can do for you is to do for you the franking, because stamps were very expensive. They were 70 cents. And so she could do for me franking. Again, a lot of you may not understand what franking is. But that's exactly what my mom did for me. And they had a maid in the house and a landline. And once in a while, I used to pass by there. So one day I passed by, and the maid told me, Oliver, there is somebody called here from a company called Population Services International. And they said that I tell you that you are supposed to go for an interview on Monday. I had no idea what that company was and what they're dealing in. Unlike now, where you would possibly, Google and find out and prepare yourself well. I'd never done any interview since I was born. So I had no idea how to prepare for an interview. I didn't have a suit. So the first thing I did was, we were being paid on Saturday. So it was about 250 shillings. And for my bouncing, I was being paid on Friday. So I had about 700 shillings. So the first thing I did was, okay, let me go to Kikomba and get a suit. It was raining, so I didn't even have time to wash it or iron it. So I just went to Kikomba and got some ill-fitting suits, It was still smelling on bottle, for those who understand what I mean. But I didn't have time to wash it. I didn't have time because it's raining, and the interview is on Monday. So it cost me 650 shillings. So I had 50 shillings remaining. And out of the 50 shillings remaining, I decided, okay, fine, I have to walk because I was told it's on David Osele Road. I had no idea where it was. So I literally walked from Soweto, Polepole, Buruburu, got my way, and reached that around 8:30. So when I got at 8:30, I'm really smelling Kikomba, if you know what I mean. And because I've walked and it's muddy, my shoes, which are also second-hand shoes, were very, very muddy, and I looked completely out of place. But, my saving grace was, I'm an international boxer anyway, so you walk with some swag a bit, And so, the swag helps you to camouflage a few things. So I got there, and there was this old man who was cleaning shoes and repairing shoes as well. And so I got there, and I asked if he could help me. And he told me, yes, I can. It's 20 bob. That's a lot of money. I said, take 10 bob. I said, 10 bob, I'll only wipe for you. I said, please just do that. So I had 40 bob remaining. So I got 40 bob, and then there was this kibanda here serving tea and mandazi. I was so hungry because I didn't have money for supper. So I got there, and the first thing I did was, okay, andazi and chai. How much is that? It's 15 bob. I said, okay. So I got 25 shillings remaining. I was very hungry. And then I walked in, and I can see that Population Services International. So I walked in. And then, we were seated down as the interview is, and the interviews were taking place up. So when you get in there, this is the first time in my life I've been called for an interview. So these people were exchanging cards. I've never had a card in my life. So they were exchanging cards, and I'm like, wow, this is very intimidating. And they were speaking things that I only learned in school. Oh, by the way, the market is not doing well, and they were exchanging some jargons, and I'm like, oh my God, that I learned in second year. I can't even remember what it was. But the confident me. Everybody repeat, confident me. I said, whatever happens, happens. So this lady comes down, and she says, okay, guys, the interviews are going to begin shortly. We'll be calling you. We'll be going upstairs for the interviews. Then you come down. And then later on, if you're not successful, you'll go through that small window. It's the accounts window. You'll take 500 shillings for your fare, and you can go. And I said, oh, my God, thank you. I was not even bothered about the interview anymore. I was just, how will I get that 500 shillings and go away? How will I get that 500 shillings and go away? Long story short, my time comes. Oliver Waindi, yes. Then I go tap. The bouncing me. And then you get in there, and it's a long table. And there's this old Mzungu sitting at the end, and some marketing directors and whatever they were sitting. I've got no idea what this company deals in. And so this Mzungu took my CV, looked, and my CV was very light. The best dancer in Interhouse. We planted trees. I was the monitor. A very light CV. So this Mzungu looked at my CV and was very angry with whoever called me. So he banged the table and asked who called this guy here. Because the job description, the advert clearly specified that they wanted somebody with BCom, driving license, 3 years experience in fast-moving stuff, and somebody with CPA. I had absolutely none of this. Absolutely. So they began arguing around the table. And, it was not me, it was you, it was, and me, I'm just looking at them, ready with my punching, just in case. Then this Mzungu asked me, can you sell condoms? Then I said, yes. Then he told me, okay, go out. No more question. And I got out. I mean, I'm just thrilled that in any case, I'm not going to leave here empty-handed. That's the only thing. And so after a short while, the last one is called, and Odelia, the HR, comes and says, if you don't hear your name, know that you have qualified for the second round. But if you hear your name, please go through that window. You'll be given your 500 shillings for it, and then you can just go. We were 12 people, I remember very, very well. And so they began 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And all of them were just going in. So I got a little shaken. I said, I've not heard my name. And she asked me, what's your name? I said, Oliver Waindi. Oliver Waindi. Yeah, so what's your problem? No, I want to hear my name. And then she's like, okay, get it right. I said, if you don't hear your name, means you've qualified to go to the second round. Then I asked her, so will I get the 500 shillings? And then she got very upset, and she told me, I told you to wait until I am done with this. So, of course, I was very unhappy. And once everybody went out, the whole team came down. And they told us, now, congratulations, you go to the second round. And the first thing you're going to do will be to take you to Jacaranda Hotel for lunch. Jacaranda Hotel for lunch, me, Oliver Waindi. So I get there, and of course, I know I won't get this job anyway. Nobody knows me here, so no embarrassment. And I just went straight to chicken. And they were telling me, oh, we've got yogurt, we got soup, I said, I don't want any of that. Just went straight to chicken, took a whole chicken. After all, I won't get this job, nobody knows me here, and I'm not embarrassed about anything. Long story short, I'm done, and then I take, I think, a whole packet of Del Monte, and I'm just belching there. No, anyway, I won't get this job anyway. And then after, we get out now, and now we are told, okay, now we'll take to Kangemi Market, each of you with a packet of condoms. Whoever sells it first gets the job. And by God's own design, the first shop I went to, they were looking for that condom. As Sis Tuju will tell you, condoms were not very common those days. Not like now. So it was really something people are looking forward to. So it's 189 shillings. Please give me 189 shillings. So I gave him the condoms. He gave me 189 shillings, and I took it back to John Berman, the country director. So he called everybody, Fox, come back. He used to call them everybody, Fox, come back. Oliver gets the job. And I'm just like, okay, how have I gotten this job? I have no idea what job it is. I've got no idea. But who is God? And then everybody comes, and I'm being congratulated. It's around 4. So we are being driven back to the office, and everybody's congratulating me. And then reaching the office, everybody's called to come and meet, and the then marketing director called Mukami tells everybody, Oliver gets the job. Oliver is the new manager of Mombasa. Really? And then the HR now comes with all those paperwork, and I'm told that you have a choice. You can go and come tomorrow to start your training for orientation, or you can go and spend at Jacaranda. And then I said, I'm not going to Kayole. Then they told me, but Oliver, you don't even have clothes to change. I said, I am not going back there. And as I went to Jacaranda, I was given this room. I rolled in that bed 10 times just to confirm that. On Thursday, I'm told, now your flight is ready, and that's how I flew and got my first job. But then when I got my first job, then I now began really improving myself. You know, you try CPA, I did diploma in HR, and I did other diplomas. And then one day I went home and met my brother-in-law, married to my eldest sister. And then he told me, Oliver, you know, you can do as many diplomas as you want, but if you don't have a master's degree, you will not go to the next level. So I decided, okay, let me try a master's. Later on, I applied for jobs and got a job with YMCA. So I became the program manager. And then I decided, I want to do masters. I was living in Buruburu, opposite Mesora supermarket. And this time, I'd gone for a meeting in Westland, so I was coming na matatu. And just around university there was a newspaper, and then I saw advertisement for the Masters in International Relations and Diplomacy, the first class in Kenya. And I said, this is what I think I want to do. And so I just alighted there and walked to University of Nairobi. I had 2,000 shillings in my account. So I went there and met Professor Marian Zomo. You know Marian Zomo? Marian Zomo said, Prof, I want to register for this course. I said, oh yeah, no problem. You've got undergraduate? Yes, I do. From where? From KU? Okay, fine. But you have to pay 2,000 shillings first for registration and application. So I went across. My bank was KCB Anniversary Towers, went, got my 2K, came and registered. Then I went to my boss very excitedly and said, boss, I've registered for my master's. I thought he would be happy for me. But he told me, Oliver, you have to decide kama ni kazi utafanya ama ni kusoma. Now, when you tell a Luo that, for those, we take a lot of things, but we don't take threats and we don't take intimidation. And I think you all know that. And so without even thinking, I just got very angrily to the PA and said, Josephine, help me with the paper. And I said, Oliver Waindi, this is to tender my resignation from the employment of him. He said, thank you. And then I took it back to him. He said, Oliver, what have you done? Go think through it. I will not accept this letter. Go in. So I don't want. And by the way, I had no idea, just like Esther said here, I had no idea where I was going to. But it just hit me, by the way, I've just made a blunder. What have I just done? How will I even pay my university fee? Then I went and told my wife, we had a young son, that, by the way, I've resigned. And of course, she cried. She called my mom, said, Oliver Nasira, no, how will you survive? And I decided, no, first things first. We have to get out of Buruburu and go to Umoja. 3-bedroom house to a single room. Because at times, life requires you to go down to come up. And it was a very rough time. Because my rent was 4,000 and I was in arrears of 3-4 months. You have got no money at all. And I used to walk on foot, literally on foot, every day, going to University of Nairobi from Umoja. And then you get to class, we were 14, including the current speaker, Wetangula. I'm not his age mates. I'm just trying to say they came. You know the way you were looking at me is as if. So, we were 14. 4 ambassadors, one from Algeria, from Zimbabwe, from Sri Lanka, and from Iran. And then we had really senior people, including the current Attorney General, as well as the Senator. So it was a class made up of really top cream, except Oliver Waindi. But I beat all of them because I think I was better than them, because, French was compulsory, and none of them could speak French. So they used to give me, 200 to do for them French homework and stuff like that. But that's not even the story. Every time I got in, Prof would come, Professor Marian Zomo, and tell me, Oliver Waindi, you've not paid fees, go back. Fees was 501,000. And I used to tell myself, there is only 499,000 shillings remaining. So the reason I'm saying this is that if you really want to do something, don't look at the obstacles, just start it. God has a way of always doing something. And so I kept on wondering, how will I finish this course? And then you have to walk, because classes used to end at 8:30 or 9. Then I used to take people's notes to go and transfer to mine and then it would take me 2 hours to walk to Umoja every day. Then one day I met a friend of mine called Mungai, whom we were with in KU, but who was now the ICT officer at University of Nairobi next to Chiromo. And then he told me, Oliver, the best I can do for you, be applying for jobs through internet. I had no idea what internet was. You know, maybe you don't understand. I think, I'm talking of early 2000. So he told me, you come over, I'll open for you a Yahoo account, which I could not even relate to, but I still have that account today. That's my main account. So I went and he opened for me. And I told myself one thing. If my boss could not support me to go and do the course I wanted to do, either because of jealousy or anger or whatever, I don't know his reason. But from now on, I will never apply for any job other than a CEO job. I told myself, never. And I've never applied for any other job other than a CEO job. I would rather take 20 years out, but I only want to be a CEO, nothing else. And I've been a CEO all through. So I kept on applying, and you know it's very hard to be a CEO. So you kept on applying, I was not getting anything. I could go to University of Nairobi, Chiromo, and then apply for all the jobs. Zile zimeandikwa director. One day, I'm crossing, was it Simas or Samas, up Kenyatta Avenue? Simas. At around 3, I'm going for my classes. Then I get a call on my Nokia 3310. Esther, you know 3310. And I get to say, is this Oliver Waindi? I say, yeah, this is Oliver Waindi. It was on a Wednesday. We are calling you for an interview in Geneva on Monday. And then I'm just like, ani wakikuyu tu hapa wataka kunigonga, but what do I lose anyway? Are you sure you can come on Monday? Say, yes, I can come on Monday. I had no idea. But again, the lesson I'm trying to push is that don't get intimidated by opportunities. Just apply. The worst they can do is to tell you no. I have no idea how I got that strength, but that's what has taught me. So I applied, and they called me. But I'm not sure still, because who would call me to go to Geneva? And then they're telling me they've sent for me air tickets and visa documents at their embassy at International House. Oliver Waindi, a jobless, working on foot from Umoja. And then, you know, I go and tell Wetangula, by the way, you know, on Monday, I've got an interview in Geneva. And then he taps me and says, Wajalonyi mnazungumza tu. And I'm not sure still. You know, I'm like, by the way, this could be a prank. But so the following day, I go and tell my wife, by the way, I am going to Geneva. And she gets very angry. Oliver, you made us suffer. We are leaving this because of water. And then you are telling me you're going to Geneva. You know, she's a Taita. So, you know, I'm so tired. I was told not to get married to a Luo. But now, what is this? And I'm just like, okay. But I'm not sure. I think I've told these people too early. I should have waited until So the following day, I carried my passport and walked straight to their embassy. There's a long queue, and my time comes, and I present the passport, and Oliver Waindi, oh yeah, we've got your package. So this thing is real. And I'm given my visa, and the flight is on Sunday. So come Sunday, I've got 50 shillings in the house. I don't have fare. I walked on foot from Umoja 1, for those who know Umoja. Umoja 1, just walked on foot to Caltex, to Mutindwa, to Donholm, to Embakasi, and got to the airport. When I go to the airport, the first barrier, I'm stopped. Kijana, unaenda wapi? Naenda Geneva. Hebu lete karatasi. You present your papers, and they look at you, and Why are you walking? Now the Luo in me comes out and says, it's none of your business. I mean, how I come is none of your business. So I'm stopped barrier 1, barrier 2, and barrier 3. Then I go to unit 1, where the flight, it was a Swiss Air flight. So I get in there. And of course I go, you try to cleanse yourself. I'm so hungry because we didn't eat supper. It's 50 bob. So I just left them with 50 bob. And then I refresh, get there, and then I present my ticket and passport. And the lady looks at me and says, are you Oliver Waindi? I say, I'm Oliver Waindi. And then she swivels on her seat and calls somebody. We've got somebody here for business class. I'd flown before as a boxer. I'd represented this country severally. I didn't know what business class is. I'd never in my wildest dreams. So I'm then called. Please, for business class, you come over here. Then I'm ushered into this lounge. It's a beautiful lounge. And the first thing I'm seeing there, orange juice, pineapple juice, and cakes. And then I remembered what happened to me some time back. I said, nobody knows me here. I'm not going to get this job. No embarrassment. I just took, I think, 10 glasses of juice. And there was this old Japanese man who was sitting down reading his newspaper. He looked at me and just said, you eat a lot? I said, yes, I eat a lot. Yes, I eat a lot. So we got into the plane. And of course, we arrive in Geneva at around 5 in the evening, local time, and everybody's coming out. I've got no idea. Suppose this is a prank. How will I even start? How do I even get out of here? Long story short, I got out, and he, who was just walking on foot the other day from Umoja to University of Nairobi and back on empty stomach, I get a mzungu with a huge billboard written, Bienvenue, Olivier Waindi. Now, some of you who don't believe in God, it's up to you. But if you don't believe in God, please look at me and rethink twice. It's not about me. It's not about anybody I knew. This is purely God. And so I get in there, and I'm ushered, and I'm taken to one of the top hotels in Geneva. Only Kinatuju are going there. And so I get into that hotel, get at the reception, and I'm given my room, which is in the 24th floor. And immediately getting into the 24th floor, I get a call from a lady called Anne Whitefold. And Anne tells me, Oliver, we are very happy that you made it for this interview tomorrow. And we've left for you 1,000 euros at the reception, just in case you may need to buy something. So I thought maybe I didn't hear. So I said, pardon? We left 1,000 euros. At that time, I never thought that actually going by the elevator would have been faster. I just left my room running, literally, through the staircase. Unakutana na watu, unakwambia, excuse me, you just ran non-stop. And I ran and found myself at the ground floor and straight to the counter and said, there's something for me. Yes, we've got an envelope for you. And actually found 1,000 euros. I'd been broke for, I think, 6 months. Not getting 100 bob, you know. I was like, what is this? I was 4 months in arrears. So first of all, I went up, this time, of course, using an elevator, and called my wife. I said, babe, you know when you have money, you can call somebody babe. Yeah. But, so, I'm called babe. I want you tomorrow evening at the Simba Saloon. Simba Saloon was the only cafeteria at JKI at that time. Those who know, those who grew up during my time, it was Simba Saloon. Now we've got Paul's, we've got all other stuff. It was Simba Saloon. Let me there, you will know that you're married to a Luo. So you're also asked, babe, kwani kuna nini? And said, no, you relax. You know. Then I called my landlord. It was called Courier. Then I called Courier. Courier, this is Oliver. Guy, hii ni namba gani? Hii si namba yako? Nikasema ya hii si namba yangu. Nyinyi Wajaruo mlipi rent? Nikasema how many months do I have? Because you must know people. I'm going to pay you everything until the end of the year. When you have money, you can pee like a man. So, the following day, of course, I go for the interview, come back. Long story short, within that week, I'm appointed head of programs for all 44 countries in Africa. And the first thing I'm asked is that we have got regional conventions taking place this month. We have one is in Caracas, in Venezuela. Another one is in Kyoto, Japan. The other one is in Kiev, Ukraine. Another one is in Warsaw for Eurasia in Poland. Can you join us? I said, what? You are asking whether I can join you? But there. And they fast track everything. I get my visas, and that's how I began globetrotting. So what my mom talked about, work hard and be flying, I've been to 105 countries in this planet. But every good story is tampered with the bad ones. After growing in my career, you become this blessed one. Then you must go through the seasons, because seasons are a must. So one day, we are having a meeting with Beth Mugo, who was by then the Minister for Health, at Pan-African Hotel. And I had spent the whole of that month talking about breast cancer. So I was always on TV, doing interviews and making talks, because I was the country director for family health. And we were the leaders in reproductive health. So I was always talking. But I always thought breast cancer is for somebody else. Those things can't hit you. So you always talk about them as if they're just very distant things. Then I'm called, my wife goes to Sitam Valley Road choir. Then she tells me, I'm feeling some pain in my chest and blah, blah, blah. The next thing, she's rushed to Nairobi hospital and she never comes out alive. Yes, she loses, And it's very, very painful, because 143 days in ICU. The bill goes to 14 million. The insurance pays some. We struggle with our friends, and she dies. And I've got a bill of about 12 million shillings to settle. I've sold everything that I can possibly have. Before that, we just built and furnished our house in Syokimau. And we're just hoping to get into our house once she got out. Now, that's the first time I actually knew that Lee Funeral Home is part of Nairobi Hospital, because she died in the morning, and when everybody was coming and I'm going to check on her, they also know we've taken her to Lee Funeral Home. And of course, going there, we can't release her until you pay everything. Now, where do I get 12 million? But she took several months, by the way, in the mortuary. And that tells you that seasons of life are there. And whatever you're going through, somebody else has gone through or will go through. So it was my time. So you go home, my son was young, and you have to talk to your son and convince him that everything is okay. But where's mom? Where's mom? It's so difficult to answer such questions. But there I found myself. So we struggled with everybody. A lot of, even some people in this room helped me. Then word reached to Uru. Uru called me and gave me 1 million shillings. And I always joke around with Kikuyu friends. So when you tell me, mudo wakwa, asema, me at least amekunipatia 1 million. Wewe umekula pesa yake ngapi? So don't believe in this thing called tribalism. So we really struggled. And we had a balance of about 6 million shillings, which I finished paying last year. Because I said I will pay every cent. So, after many months, the body is released to us. And when the body is released, you go for the burial in Kisumu. And Bishop Oginde takes long, and the eulogies and all. I'm so tired of, emotionally, I'm just drained. And in fact, I was telling Oginde, please, harakisha, man. I'm just tired. And of course, we go bury by one, and then I leave people at the graveside. I come to my house and try to watch Arsenal. That day, Arsenal is beaten 4-0, and I'm just like, oh my God. And not only that, so you are still there wondering, then I get a call from my caretaker. Baba Craig, wamebomoa nyumba yote Syokimau. Yes, all of it flattened. 14 million gone. The same day, you just buried your wife after all this. So before you complain that you are stressed because, imagine Nimemandikia is just blue-ticked me. Some of us are going through real challenges. When you've gone through real challenges, you really don't dwell on the minors. Amen? Amen? When you've gone through real challenges, like you will one day, you will ask yourself, but why was I worrying about a fellow human being who didn't respond to my email or SMS? Or I let somebody else intimidate and harass me to the point of losing my health. The real challenges, when they come, you don't even cry. I remember my sister used to come and shake me, Oliver Waindi kidogo, because I've never cried. When they really hit you, you can't even cry. Unaanzia wapi? Then I stay home for 2 weeks. I don't want to come to Nairobi. Then you are told, I was working for family. Then they get into some tangles at the board. Then the board takes another one to court. This one goes there, this one goes there. And they say, we've sacked all the staff from the ED. So first of all, now you are jobless. Una deni ya 6 million. Nyumba imebomolewa. You've just buried your wife. Your son can't take. And it's just a whole mess. But one lesson that we take home every day, and which I tell every person I meet, is that it is incumbent upon you to be strong enough to come out of every challenge. This world, nobody cares about you. So you have to be strong enough to penetrate that ceiling. Because hata ulie, hata ufanye nini, ultimately you're still responsible. You've got kids, you've got bills, you've got your life. And you keep on moving, Sasa huna bibi, huna kazi, huna pesa, and just few months ago, the president could call you. Now all of a sudden, huna namna. But you encourage yourself, it will be better tomorrow. And kept on applying for jobs. And then I get this job for 1 year. Regional director, Open Learning Exchange. Out of the blues, just internet. And for 1 year, now I'm in charge of introducing digital education in Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Djibouti. I've got no idea even this digital stuff, but anyway, I'm the ED. So I can recruit some of you who know it better than me, But again, another lesson that I want you to take home is that don't fear applying for big jobs. Small jobs are very competitive. Big jobs are not. I'm very serious about this. I mean, look at our elections. Presidential election, 4 people. MCS, 13,000. So, if you want competition, go for the small jobs. I'm a CEO, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, we want a program officer, I'll get 800 applications. But we want director of finance, you'll get 14 people. And I always tell people, please forget about the small ones. Apply just big ones. So I keep on applying for big jobs only. And so I get this job, and it helped me. I reduce my bills at the hospital. And then I begin now building in Kitengela, another house. So I begin building. I've got no idea where money is going to come from. I've never been bothered where money is going to come from. Because previously, that's how I began my master's, and that's how I began my PhD. I don't care where money is going to come from, because I know he who has the money, Yuko. He has never failed me, he won't fail you. All what he wants is the courage to start. Once you start, God will come in. Please, mine is not story a job. Job lived 8,000 years ago. This is Oliver Waindi living today. If you want encouragement, real life, this is me, I'm telling you. You go to a PhD class, ultimately you unamaliza na 1 million. Where did it come from? God has a way of doing it. Just start, trust in him and start. And I get this job, and I start now building. The total cost of building, it cost 14 million. I don't have a job, but after my mom used to come and tell me, my wife is here, she can tell you. My mom used to come, Oliver, unajenga nyumba kubwa, utamaliza lini? That's why, and I'm just like, am I wrong that I dreamt big or what? But one day, my employer, whom I've never met to date, based in Boston, Massachusetts, sent money into my account. Exactly the same money that I'm owing Nairobi Hospital. And I'm like, is it a mistake? And I'm like, this is not a mistake. Is it a blessing or how can somebody just send 12 million shillings into my account? And KCB calls me to go and explain where that money has come from. Of course, I went and explained, and before long, I had the opportunity to be Kenyan. Because if you are a Kenyan and 12 million is in your account, somebody you've never seen, 90% would not have sent that money back. But anyway, I sent that money back. And they have called me consistently to go and talk about integrity issues globally. I struggled, eventually I got a job. But when all that was happening, my son was very brilliant. I was carried as a Dad of the Year in Daily Nation in 2017. Because as a single father, your son is excelling in school, going to the university, getting a first class, then he gets into drugs. My son has been into drugs to date. My wife, who is here because I remarried again, we've walked in mortuaries, hoping one body after the other, looking for my son. When you do that, you're told, I'm on a Lamu. You go to Lamu number, the one who was found is not him. And that's the life we've lived in. Ultimately, you finish the house, you remarry, and life continues. But all what I want to tell you is that trust in God. Don't let a fellow human being intimidate you. We are all mortals. When my wife was in that fridge, they were in the same fridge with Wangari Maathai. And then I looked at them and said, this is a fundamental lesson in life. No titles, no money, no laureate, no nothing. This is just Wangari Maathai and Catherine Waindi in the same place. And that's what life is for you. So my take home for you, please trust in yourself. Dream big. Don't let troubles bring you down. But one thing is for sure, trouble will come to you. What matters is how do you navigate around the trouble. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.